Ladies and gentlemen, please give a real warm welcome to Dan Rather and his grandson, Martin.
Thanks for everything. Hello. Good evening. Thank you all for being here. My name is Martin Rather. Welcome to our session on the Rather Prize. Our thanks to Ron Reed for that fantastic introduction. Also, Mission Capital, our nonprofit partner on the prize, and Rice University's Center for Civic Leadership. I want to encourage all of you now to take a minute, get out your phones, and go to slido.com. We're going to do a question and answer session at the end. I know you can see it on this board here. The hashtag is SXSWedu. We are the featured session. You can pick the featured room on there, and we look forward to taking your questions at the end. Thank you all for being here.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Dan Rather, Martin's grandfather.
That's right.
Thank you very much. And I am a product of Texas public schools, nothing but Texas public schools. I went to Love Elementary, Hamilton Junior High, Reagan Senior High in Houston, and later what was then Little Sam Houston State Teachers College in Huntsville. My wife, Fighting Heart, Jeannie Grace Goebel, rather, who is here today, also a fifth or sixth generation Texan, is also a product of Texas public schools. And one thing that we've known a very long time, even before Martin was born, is that the value, what we received in the way of an education in Texas schools from inspiring, caring teachers, principals, administrators, is absolutely invaluable to us and a great treasure for the nation. Texas public schools is part of our overall national public school system. And when Martin first came up with this idea, frankly, he was 17 to 18 years old, and you know how the mind does wander, particularly with boys at that age. I wasn't sure he'd follow through, but follow through he did. And we now reached the point where it's long been our family belief, and now is a key part of the core mission of the Rather Prize, is the belief that inspiring teachers, principals, administrators, together with their students, have all kinds of ideas for making Texas schools better. And having gone through this year of putting the Rather Prize together, I've never been more confident in that belief.
So firstly, what is the Rather Prize? It's a $10,000 prize for the best idea to improve education in Texas. It's open to students, teachers, and administrators. We like to say anyone learning in or working in a Texas educational institution. For us, this idea came about through a series of conversations that I had, one with my grandfather in regards to his Texan education, as you've heard, and then also with my Aunt Robin. We'd all frequently meet at a local hole-in-the-wall restaurant in East Austin called One in a Million. I highly recommend it. I'll tell you that I felt for much of this entire process that the odds of ever getting here to South by Southwest were about 1 in a million. But we've had the opportunity to be here. We got a number of fantastic ideas that I'm really excited to go through with all of you today.
Well, in the conversation with Martin, Martin mentioned a couple of metrics to me when he was talking about why we should get involved with this prize. One, he mentioned that Texas was 39th in national education rankings, 48th in SAT scores.
That's right.
Now, as a native Texan, I found myself saying, there's no way that God put Texas on this green earth to be 39th or 48th at anything. We can do better.
That's right. Well, listen, we must do better, and we know now that we can do better. There's a lot of hope here in Texas.
Well, and hope is the key. We know that a lot of Texas schools and Texas school systems are doing a good job. But we also know that the state as a whole has to do a much better job. But the hope is, and we found it this year in these wonderful applications and for the contest, that there are all kinds of ideas bubbling from the bottom up in Texas, from students, teachers, principals, administrators, never mind the top down. That's also necessary, but the bottom up. And what this contest has demonstrated to us is there are all kinds of good ideas in every classroom and every school system in the state.
That's right. So without further ado, I'd like to take the time to go through our 10 finalists. These were culled from all of the submissions that came into us, looked at by volunteers from Rice University, both students and faculty. We're going to play them. We'll go through them here on this PowerPoint. But before everyone's eyes glaze over, this is not going to be just a PowerPoint presentation. We're going to take the time to go through just these 10 of the best ideas, share them with all of you, and then we'll move on to the celebration of the winning idea. So idea number 1 is to create an outdoor nature play area at Title I elementary schools. You see on the bottom the bullet point, that's a public comment. We had the opportunity as part of our public voting process on these finalists for people to comment. One indicative comment about this idea was someone felt that access to natural spaces fosters scientific curiosity in children and instills in them a love of nature that ultimately transfers to their lives as working adults. This idea came to us from a teacher in the Northwest Independent School District. That's a suburb of Fort Worth.
And we move on to idea 2. I emphasize these are not in any order of finish. These were the 10 finalists. The grouping of them, the order of them here is sort of hit or miss. Idea number 2 was to create a web-based platform with social media elements that will recognize students as creators instead of consumers by hosting authentic content created by Texas students and organized by Texas Standards, TEKS. Now, one of the comments, and we had a lot of comments about all of these ideas, one of the comments about idea 2 says it incorporates students' passion with technology, their innate creativity, and their spirit of friendly competition to excel. This comes from a teacher at Collins High School in Houston, along with a graduate of Texas A&M who now works in the Dallas Independent School District.
On to idea number 3. This was to bring reading home to children to eventually improve their college education, mostly by encouraging parents who are college students to read more to their children, increasing the intergenerational reading habits. One comment about this idea is someone felt that reading is an essential part of learning and expanding the mind. Children would be more in the know about what goes on around them. That's the explanation for why this person voted for this idea number 3. Idea number 3 came to us from a professor at South Texas College in McAllen.
Idea number 4, to partner high school students with college students in a mentorship program with the goal of strengthening articulation strategies to colleges and universities for minority and underrepresented populations. Went on to talk about the program could form partnerships between colleges and high schools to this end. Now, among the comments on this particular idea was the following one: I thought it was a rather good idea. And the idea came from a teacher administrator at Eastside Memorial High School here in Austin.
All right. Idea number 5 was to encourage every elected legislator and Board of Education member in Texas to spend at least one day at a Texas public school in order to foster, that's right, in order to foster a mutual exchange of perspectives. There would be no campaigning on this day. One public comment, we got a lot of comments about this idea, but one of them was that many of our legislators are making decisions about public education without firsthand knowledge of the schools they serve. Conversations with teachers and students would help to give them more balanced perspectives. This comes from a teacher at Claudia Taylor Lady Bird Johnson High School in San Antonio.
As we continue to go through the 10 finalists, idea number 6 was to promote the concept of looping. Looping is where teachers teach a substantially similar group of students for a number of years by collecting and promoting additional research on one teacher who follows the same group of students K through 12. This looping idea came from a teacher at Meridian and IB World School in Round Rock. Among the comments about this, quote, having a consistent advocate coach the students through their time in school will have a measurable impact on the confidence the student has in their work.
Idea number 7 focuses on multiplying STEM learning experiences for students. That's science, technology, engineering, and math. this would be part of a national program, but we would bring it here to the Dallas-Fort Worth area and expand on the national program already in place. This comes from a teacher at the Woodrow Wilson High School Academy of Engineering in Dallas. And one public comment on this idea is that idea number 7 champions the modeling method of instruction, which is an effective technique that is closer to the actual way in which scientific advances are made.
Let me point out when we give the comments, keep in mind that what happened after there was an initial sort of winnowing down of the contestants, then they went to a public vote. And there were more than 15,000 public votes.
That's right.
And 6,000 comments. People were encouraged to comment about it. Not everybody commented, but 6,000 is pretty impressive. That's where these quotes of the comments come from. Now, idea number 8 among the 10 finalists, to reintroduce retired educators into classrooms by offering them more flexible opportunities, including part-time work. These retired educators would provide extra personnel help out in the classrooms and so forth around the schools. Now, one of the comments about reintroducing retired educators into classrooms was not only would retired teachers provide excellent instructional support, but also would lend invaluable mentoring services to less experienced teachers. This idea came from a retired teacher in the Friendswood area down on the coast.
Idea number 9, which comes to us from an administrator in the Fort Bend Independent School District in Sugar Land, is to renovate a school in order to provide play spaces for children, including such things as a bank, outdoor laboratory, and a newsroom. This one comment about this idea is that hands-on experiences are how modern learners best assimilate knowledge. That's why one person voted for this idea. Finally.
Well, now, going to idea 10, and to end, these are the 10 finalists. This is the 10th in our, in no particular order, listing. To encourage the Texas State Legislature to replace the current form of standardized testing with the Iowa test of basic skills, the PSAT, the ACT, and the SAT. These tests would be more practical for students as they can be used in some cases for college applications and would discourage teachers from teaching to the test and so forth. This came from a student at Dallas Baptist University in Dallas, and among the comments passed along with it were, by implementing the PSAT, ACT, SAT test in lieu of the STAR test, it could only better prepare students for college, but it could spark interest and inspiration in students who may not have previously considered college. That ends our 10 finalist idea, and I think we should give a great round of applause. Any and all of these things.
Absolutely. So I want to take a moment now to pause and talk about the dozens of submissions that didn't have the opportunity to become finalists and what we learned from those submissions. Number one, there are great ideas in just about every classroom across this state. I mean, we took in submissions that were from middle school students, from entire engineering clubs, 20 kids, teachers, principals, chairs of departments at some of our state's top universities sent in ideas, and many, if not all of them, were really, really great ideas. I wish we could go through every single one of them tonight. Secondly, as you saw with that last finalist, idea number 10, I would be remiss not to tell you all that there is a significant amount of animosity towards standardized testing here in Texas. I mean, a number of the submissions that we received had to do with a way to replace or get rid of or something else involved with the STAR test. That's where a number of our submissions were focused. You saw one of the finalists there. That's just, that's the lay of the land. That's what people were talking about this year. In terms of the contest itself, I'll tell you a quick story. Back in December, we had only 40 submissions for this prize. And my grandfather and I, we announced this prize back in August. We did a 3-day media tour with a fantastic group of Texas journalists who gave us some excellent coverage. And we also did a TASA, TASB conference in front of a couple thousand people in October. So we were really trying to get the word out about the Rather Prize and tell people and encourage them to submit ideas. But 4 or 5 months in, we only had 40 submissions. And the way I know we had exactly 40 submissions is that I respond to every submission that comes in so that people know that their idea was received, and people have questions. I get right back to them. We don't have any other, we don't have any paid staff or anything like that. And I was so excited at every email that came in. Like, if Southwest Airlines would put out a low fare special, I would be on that in like 2 seconds. I mean, just whatever email could come in, I wanted to respond to. And so I called some folks and I was looking for advice. I said, did we not do enough? Are there not ideas out there? I'm sure that there are. And a very wise man told me, when people can wait, they will. And nothing is more indicative of that than this year's Rather Prize. We took in 60% of our submissions in the last 3 days. And a lot of them were really good ideas, but they were coming in almost minute by minute at the very end there. So just a word of advice coming from running the contest itself.
Well, the time has come, drum roll, if you will, to make a tough choice about the winners. Keep in mind that somebody had to win and somebody had to finish second and so forth down the line. But in the end, our winner, very impressively, through the first round, when the student group was winnowing down to the total number of entries, which total number of entries was over 100. The time we got to the public voting, which we had hoped would be about 40% of the decision of who won and who didn't, the winning entry got an impressive, I think it was 3,500 votes. Out of 15,000 cast, which was impressive, and it was the unanimous choice of our Board of Advisors. I emphasize again that Martin and I, nor anyone in our family had anything to do with picking the winner. What we did was set a process by which the winner. So now we have the winner to announce, and I'll address you to the screen, where this video will explain who and what won the Rather Prize for 2016.
Hello, I'm Dan Rather, and the winner of the first Rather Prize for improving Texas education, emphasizing the need for innovative ideas from the bottom up, ideas from teachers, administrators, and students. The 2016 prize winner is Austin's Eastside Memorial High School.
It's a new era at Eastside Memorial.
We've come through so much. Being able to have these opportunities, it's just very inspiring to know that we've made it this far and we're going even further.
Just a few years ago, not many people believed Eastside students had the opportunity to go far. The school was created in 2008 at the former Johnston High School, closed by the state for being academically unacceptable. The name may have changed, but students still struggled.
When I came in 4 years ago, I was the 5th principal for that class, the class of 2012.
The student population at Eastside is 94% minority, mainly Hispanic. Most come from low-income families. Even with all the changes they were told to make, Eastside continued to have poor graduation rates, low attendance, and bad test scores.
It solely had to do with the state mandating that changes happen, and part of that change was taking out the leadership, redesigning the school, reconstituting the school, closing the school. All of those things don't help kids.
To help the kids, a strong and supportive community rallied around their neighborhood school, and Eastside was allowed to come up with its own strategy.
Here's my question. Were women allowed to play sports in the 60s?
Teachers worked day and night with the students. Students pushed hard.
How are we getting smart? How are we getting wise?
And then, last year,
We were successful on the state test for the first time in over a decade.
We did a compression test on this, right? Remember that?
Our graduation rate went from about 65% to we had 96% graduate on time in 2016.
Eastside students are also excelling in advanced placement and college-ready courses.
You will be doing assessments of other students and grown-ups.
Dr. Sanford Jeems is coordinator of Eastside's Health Science program. He sees the potential in his students beyond test scores, beyond high school.
It has been a really good shot in the arm, per se, for our students and the faculty to know that people recognize a lot more about what we do here and now look at what we can possibly do for even more students. We're going to practice first on each other, then we're going to go next door.
And doing more for Eastside students is what Dr. Jeems spelled out in his winning proposal for the inaugural Rather Prize. It's the Step Up Challenge. STEP stands for the Student Training and Enrichment Project, which involves mentoring, leadership through service, and pathways to college.
What we want to do with the $10,000 prize is have students be able to learn a lot more by doing it. For example, we have students in our health science program who actually leave campus to do clinical experiences. We can be able to do the same thing with engineering. We can do the same thing with graphic design. It could do the same thing with music. It's all of these things about taking students outside of the immediate atmosphere to expose them to not just opportunities, but other people as well.
On the other tab, you can also do college search.
One of those students is Isaac Reyes. Already accepted into Baylor and Texas State University, an admission letter from the University of Texas is waiting for him at home. Isaac says exposure to different careers and being in the middle of it are important to him and his fellow students.
They get to experience it firsthand. A lot of it's told by us from a book or we watch a video from it. It's really like, right now we really can't go see all the things we want to see, but with this Rather Prize, I think the school will be able to do a lot more with their students.
Not only will Isaac be the first in his family to go to college, he'll be the first to finish high school.
I like to look at some of the kids that went with us to Prairie View and to Blinn.
Dr. Jeems submitted this STEP idea in collaboration with Harry Brooks, the project specialist at Eastside.
The youth on this side of town, on the southeast side of Austin, a lot of them haven't seen the world, haven't seen Austin for that matter.
A college campus is also a new experience for most of these students.
There are statistics that show 35% of the kids that step onto a college campus will eventually attend a college campus. Well, we want to start taking these kids out of this little Pandora's box that I call on the southeast side of Austin and putting them on those campuses and letting them see some likeness.
Some of the Eastside students recently traveled out of Austin and visited Prairie View A&M University and Blinn College. Eye-opening experience.
We get to recognize where we should be by working with college students and seeing, oh, this is how the environment is, and I could actually do this. And then the barriers start to vanish as you can see that you're capable of producing the same work as anybody else in that field.
Their transformation goes from like, I didn't know I could do this, where the light bulb turns on and like, this may be me in the future. I need to come here. I need to do this for myself.
This is a really exciting opportunity for us. I think the Rather Prize is a game changer. Eastside Memorial, it is a game changer. It's about excellence. It's about making sure all kids are successful. And that's what they're doing there, making sure all kids are ready for college and prepared for college, career, and life.
It's what educators work for. You work to see the light bulb come on and everything just come alive for the students, and that's exactly what happens.
Eastside sophomore Angel Tinoco has his sights on becoming a mechanical engineer and how the Rather Prize can help him later in high school.
It gives me a hope that we have good opportunities to be able to go to more colleges and other places, work areas where I will be able to see what engineers do.
That school is filled with the kind of students I was when I came out of John Reagan High School in Houston. That is, they have the dream, but how to get from the reality of where they are now to the dream. This winning idea in this year's Rather Prize, we think, can at least give a little bit of nudge.
We're very fortunate in that we are able to have existing partners. The Rather Prize will actually help us do even more for more students.
I think it's also a recognition that we need to make sure that we're opening more of these doors, that we're providing more opportunities, more empowerment to other parts of the community, and they're showing us how to do it. We just need to get out of the way and let them lead, and we can just follow them.
Eastside Memorial's idea is exciting to us because it really shows the completion of their comeback. To be able to create an idea with a mentoring program, put that into place, which is something we're going to help them do, it's going to set their kids up for success for many, many years, and hopefully for other students as well be able to follow that model.
History has been made and history is in the making. We are a group of empowered students. They'll see us very soon in big places.
We can count on it. Congratulations to Austin's Eastside Memorial High School, winner of the inaugural Rather Prize for the best idea to improve Texas education.
All right. So now we'd like to invite our first winner, Dr. Sanford Jeans, Eastside Memorial. Come join us on stage, please. Say a few words. Oops, grab a mic. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Nothing. Congratulations. Please.
All right. You want to say a few words?
Good evening.
Can
you hear me?
There we go.
Good evening. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge the support of the administration of Eastside Memorial High School who's here, and more importantly, what you saw in the video is exactly what we are trying to do at Eastside. I do want to also acknowledge our students who are here this evening and their parents. We also want to thank, of course, the Rather Prize for offering this opportunity to continue to impact the education at Eastside. The idea that we submitted is again, a collaborative effort by myself, Harry Brooks, Yeska Diaz is here, and with the support again of our principal, Brian Miller, and the academic counselor, Ms. Delgado, we're able to put together a project that we feel like is something that can impact students right now. And this is not something that can happen just at Eastside. We see the idea as a replication of something that can be actually done throughout the state. And I think everyone should understand what we said in the video is not necessarily creating a new idea, but it's more or less putting together our best practices and being able to listen more to what the students want, and then we're able to build on from there.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. James. Round of applause one more time. And now, if you'll stay up here, we've got a very special guest who's going to come join us. Someone you may have seen the video, Dr. Paul Cruz, the ASD superintendent. If you'd please come on stage. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, what an honor. What a great day it is. I am just off the charts proud. So proud of the great work. First of all, I want to thank the Rather family, and I just love the way you've done this, really as a family, working together, believing in public schools, believing in education for all of our kids, and putting the challenge out there to the Texas public school system, that it is about excellence, it's about innovation, and it's about doing what works. And that's where I see in the proposals that were sent in today, and all of them were phenomenal. So when I see all the proposals, what was sent, high quality, high caliber, all strong proposals, and then I come to Eastside, I am just so proud. And as I saw, I'm proud of Mr. Miller, proud of Haley, proud of Isaac, Alexis. I don't know if y'all are, I can't see anybody in the audience right now, but I know y'all present even before board meetings. I know, Haley, you've been doing that since you were a freshman. And Alexis, every time we turn around, we give you another prize or something like that, right? Isaac, just strong leadership. I'm just so proud of Eastside Memorial High School because I know you're really smart and exceptional students, but we've had some struggles along the way. Today, it is about excellence. It is about you. It is about the future and making sure that all of our kids at Eastside Memorial High School are ready for college, career, and life, and doing it great the way we do it in Austin, about excellence and innovation, keeping the main thing, which is really about our kids. Thank you again to the Rather family for this support. It means so much to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll take that from you. Thank you very much. We appreciate it, man. Take care. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Now we're actually going to shift right to question and answer. So if you'll go on slido.com, we're going to take a seat here. If you'll join us, Dr. James, and we want to get to as many questions as we possibly can from all of you. So starting with the first one. So Vanessa's asking, have you investigated sources for sustainability once these great ideas are funded? I guess, actually, can we start with you, Dr. James, in terms of that, how you feel, what the next steps are for sustainability of your project, and then we'll talk about how we can help.
That's a very good question. I think everyone understands that when it comes to education, sustainability is without a doubt the most important piece. What we did when we put together our idea was we identified the current partnership that Eastside already has. And we think that's something that we can build upon. As was said in the video, many of the students right now can benefit by not just learning about resources, but the utilization of these resources much better. So in terms of sustainability, what we're looking to do is build upon these existing networks. Many students have a desire to do certain things. What we want to do is identify what those strengths are, work with our students better. Oftentimes we have things that we tell the students that they should do. What we're proposing to do with the Rather Prize is get more information from our students about what their educational and career pathways might be, and then our role as educators is to actually touch base with those existing partners to ensure that our students actually are in the right path so they can perform better and investigate it better.
Well, we're excited to help. Granted, do you want to talk briefly about how we're going to do implementation, and I'll add?
Well, very briefly, because I think it's important we get to as many questions as we can, but I do want to emphasize that when we went into this, and keep in mind, we were amateurs at this. This is something brand new for us. But I did understand, we understood, that getting the contest done, declaring a winner, was only a start. We need to follow through, and we do have a plan for following through on this to get implementation of the idea. We have to start one place at a time. Perhaps a second school can be partnered along. We'll be following up this summer. We have a plan, and we have a group of young students from Rice University, and Rice University has been very supportive of this effort, specifically designed to see what we can do about implementing this winning idea. And for that matter, if there's any interest in implementing some of the other ideas, we'll try our best to do that as well. We have no illusions about the difficulty of this. We can't be perfect. We weren't perfect in running the contest. We can't be perfect with the follow-through, but we're certainly going to try.
That's right. We're very fortunate to get a fairly large grant from Rice University's Rich Endowment to put together a team of students and also a faculty mentor to work with Dr. Jeems and Eastside Memorial. And then we're going to try and create a blueprint, which we'll publicize and put on our website for other schools to take a look at. Excellent question. Let's go to another one. We need this not just in Texas. Have you thought about taking it to other states? I appreciate that being the number one question on there. You know what? We're about at our limit in Texas. My hope is that we can see this have many, many more submissions next year. That's one of the goals, is to try and grow the prize. You know, maybe add on, other partners, corporate sponsors, some other organizations. I don't know whether or not we'll ever be able to get it to another state, but let's work on Texas. If we can get Texas to #1 in the nation, we'll think about it. How about that? You guys can help. All right. Dr. Jeems, let's go to you for this next question from Jill. Will graduates of Eastside come back to serve as mentors to current students?
That question there is pretty self-explanatory. One of the key ingredients myself and Ms. Diaz worked on was really reaching back to get students who have actually graduated from Eastside, who've actually gone on to do not just educational things, but also career-wise. Many students from a population as Eastside and even other schools have a hard time seeing what happens after I graduate. The idea and concept of our program with mentoring, a big piece, of course, is to utilize our large alumni base. Eastside Memorial High School has many students who've graduated and done well, but the key thing is to actually have those students to come back and really start explaining to our students right now exactly what it takes to be more competitive.
Right. No doubt. The next question, how will you document and share what works so that other schools can try this? The three of us are going to try our best to get the word out about Dr. Jeems' idea as far and as wide as possible. As I said earlier, there will be some stuff up on our website at the conclusion of the summer when our students have spent weeks trying to implement the idea. And certainly, any school, anyone else who's interested in trying this, or even any of the other finalists that might be interested in one of those ideas, I encourage you to go to ratherprize.org, send us an email, tweet us at ratherprize. I'd be happy to respond and try and get something going, because we've talked about this. We want to see this become something that has an impact statewide. The next question is Keith Patrick asks, when can we apply for next year's award? Granddad, you want to take that one on?
Well, as soon as we can catch our breath. We are dedicated. We are dedicated to taking what we learned this year and try to build on it for next year. And we'll have an announcement soon as to when the entries in the contest can start. It'll be sometime this summer. If we follow the pattern of last year, probably middle of July, early August. We'll be looking for the best ideas again. And it's often said of me that I excite easily, and that's true. But I get so excited about this that I have about a 3,000 calorie attack every 2 hours about the potential of getting ideas from below, getting ideas. We've said this 2 or 3 times. Taking the ideas from below. Students have good ideas, principals, administrators, as we've seen this year. So I can't wait to get to next year. I hope it'll be bigger. I certainly think it'll be better from our end, better administered next year than it was. But we'll let you know. But I would say sometime after the middle of July, early August, when we put in place how we're going to implement this year's winning idea and contribute to other ideas. Once we get that solidified, which I hope will be about the middle of July, early August, we'll be looking for new entries in the 2017 Rather Prize.
That's right. Next question, Cody asks, as a local business owner, how would I become involved as a mentor? This is an excellent question. Dr. James, if you want to answer it. How do you,
the first thing I want to say is, where is Cody, and when can I get your contact information?
That's right.
Because I'm ready right now to establish that relationship. But I think this is a very excellent question, which is one of the things we figured that's really adamant about what it is we're trying to do. And I think in the video, it was conveyed again that our students really have a desire to do a lot of great things. The key point is, where can we actually do it? So in terms of people who want to get involved with Eastside Memorial High School, the idea of mentoring is exactly what it is we want. We do have an open door policy. We're very fortunate, again, that we've been able to establish relationships already, and many of that was done through past relationships. But what we're looking to do is build some new partnerships. Many students have ideas to do beyond some of the traditional things we think about. And being a health science instructor, naturally, many of our students say that we want to go into nursing, we want to go to medical school. There are many components of healthcare that they had not heard about. And these are involving students actually doing job shadowing to learn what is it like to actually be in a certain situation, learning what it's like to work as a team, working in an environment beyond what they see each and every day.
Excellent point. Next question, sort of along the same vein, Anonymous asks, has UT offered to partner with Eastside on this project? Have you heard from the University of Texas or anyone else?
I have not heard from the University of Texas at this point. Again, we have some identified already relationships. We're very fortunate this year that thanks to some guidance from Houston Tillotson and Mr. Miller, we do have now a partnership to start looking at dual credit programs. But those are the kinds of things that we know can actually work, because many students here in the area, University of Texas is a great destination. And was pointed out in the video, it may be a great destination, but at the same time, University of Texas is a far way away from many of our students. Right. And it's not because they can't go there, it's not because they don't want to go there, but the idea of creating a pathway that can actually let our students become more competitive, and it really helps them identify and visualize how they get there.
And if I may jump in terms of the Rather Prize and partnerships, we try and be really, really careful with the partnerships that we take on, because we are a completely nonpartisan organization. I should have said that earlier. We are not advocating for a cause. We're advocating for people to think critically and come up with solutions. So, for us that means, we really had to spend a lot of time researching the proper partners. Rice University, Mission Capital, South by Southwest EDU, they are fantastic partners, but they're not partners that we have, monetary relationships per se. We try to do our best, to make sure that we're all just trying to promote education and get it out, as best as we can. So we take a really, really close look at partnerships, but I know Eastside does as well, and you guys will look for some great ones. Next question from Terry Sperry, who's an educational consultant. She asks, what is the most important thing you would like education policymakers to understand about Eastside Memorial and other schools like it?
I think the most important thing that other people can learn about our students at Eastside, and even the atmosphere, was really conveyed in the video that was made. Eastside Memorial has been able to create a family atmosphere. We've been able to create an educational site and institution where students know that they're actually part of the process. And I think one of the things, the most important piece we can learn, we have to learn to meet students where they are. Some of the times as educators, we all have great ideas on how we can improve education. The ideas you saw in the Rather Prize is a good example. However, one of the things that we want to do is really listen more. I really like what you said about bottom up. And the idea that we had, a good example, we went to Prairie View A&M. Myself, Mr. Brooks, and Ms. Diaz, we took the students to Prairie View A&M and Blinn College, and it was a great tour. It was a great way for students to see where they can go. The key ingredient that the students said on coming back was, when can we go to a class? We want to sit in an actual classroom. We need to know what it's like to sit in a classroom. The admissions department at both schools did a very good job of putting together an overview of the process to get into college. They explained to us, we listened to other students, we had a chance to meet some students, but the number one comment was, we need to sit in a college classroom to know what that's like. And so with that being said, one of the probably most important pieces of the educational policies about Eastside Memorial students is how can we improve our listening ability? We're experts. We have great ideas, but sometimes we need to listen more to those who are impacted by our ideas.
We certainly want to get into other questions, but let me underscore that part of the emphasis of wanting to do the Rather Prize was to preach the gospel of listening. That policymakers, and I'm not here to denigrate any of them, federal, state, local, but policymakers, in my experience, and I cut my repertorial teeth covering the school board elections and the school board in Harris County, Texas. So often policymakers, I'm sorry to say, don't listen, particularly don't listen to students. They don't listen to the teachers. They don't listen to principals. They don't listen to the people who live the education day by day. Certainly there's a lot to be said by intellectual approaches to education policy, but listening is one of the things all we can do with the Rather Prize is a very small megaphone. We're not big enough to have a flag. We only have a little pennant that says, would you listen to the students, listen to the teachers, listen to the principals, listen to the administrators, listen to the people who have to deal with it every day, and take into account their opinions on what policy should be.
Absolutely. So if we can, I think we're going to take one more question in this format. It comes from Anonymous, and it asks, it says, I assume there were many barriers to overcome, but was there one that seemed impossible to overcome, but that ultimately you got through? Dr. James.
Probably the biggest barrier was to actually write the grant. But with that being said, many barriers, again, I hate to keep hopping on the same thing, but one thing that we really like to think that we've been able to do is put together our best practices. We've thought about what exactly is existing right now and how can we impact our students today. It is one thing to say that we're going to build something that changes over time. If you're going to impact the educational system, it is not going to be impacted for my students who are sitting right there. They need something that we believe can actually affect and impact them right now. And when we put together the prize or the grant concept, it was really focusing on where are the students right now, but more importantly, what can we do so that they can be impacted immediately. And so we think that we were able to really piece together our best practices as educators and administrators, but more importantly, we looked at what can we do for students once they leave high school. It is one thing to graduate. We've been able to increase graduation rates every year since we've been here. Now what happens once they graduate? And we believe that that comes to mind with helping students identify their pathway so when they graduate, they can actually see where they're going to go. And then the other piece again, which we implemented, was being able to have students who have graduated and come back and mentor other students.
Exactly. That's right. Now, Dr. James, you did not know that you were winning the Rather Prize when you arrived here this afternoon, did you?
I had no idea that we were actually going to win. This is a complete surprise.
Well, you handled all these questions with such grace, and you have a fantastic idea. So let's give one more round of applause for Dr. Sanford James, everybody. The PowerPoint. We can, we just have a couple people to thank here. We are going to stick around after our session. Hope to talk to all of you, answer some of the questions that we didn't have time for tonight. Just some special thanks. Ron Reed, Danielle Greenberg, and Julia Chitillo of South by Southwest EDU did a fantastic job. Let's do applause at the end. Ron Oliveira and Russ Ray, who made that video that you saw, just really fantastic. Can't have enough good things to say about them. Taylor Ellison, Jordan Steele, Chris Saldana, Megan Snipes, and Amy Villarreal, along with Quita Culpepper, Frank Volpicella. That's just some of the names of, as I said, the fantastic Texas Press Corps that have been really, really kind to us and supportive in this inaugural year of the prize. Dr. Johnny Veselka, who is the executive director of the Texas Association of School Administrators, very, very supportive, giving us the opportunity to talk with many of the state's top administrators about how we can promote best practices. Caroline Quenneman, Wiggins King, Pervez Captain, those are some of our advisory board members. Also, Geronimo Rodriguez, who participated in our video. all of our volunteers. I can't say enough about how many people from Rice University and really everyone actually who voted on this prize, how much that means to us, that people willing to take time out of their busy schedules to vote on the idea or to take a look at something we had going, especially in our first year. That takes a lot of trust. Speaking of trust, everyone who submitted an idea, it takes a lot to say what your best idea is and send it to us and have us take a look at it. So thanks to all of them for taking a leap of faith in this first year. And finally, Dr. Sanford Jeames, Eastside Memorial, for your idea. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great night. Thank you.